Yo, it's Guido coming at you with the Tactics Talk. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate your support. I have loaded into Sacred Valley in my T-25 Pilot 1 in a 3-5-8 battle, and I'm middle tier in a medium. In my Pilot, which is the Tier 8 Premium American Medium Tank. Recently, I had a subscriber ask me to do a video on when you know that you have to go against the meta. Go against the meta. How do you know that? This is a pretty good example of a map which has a pretty good established meta. In general, you'll find in the northwest corner the heavies will go. You'll generally have some TDs sitting back in these areas back here, and in the southeast corner you will typically have mediums, potentially faster, heavies, and lights. The idea is that you win down here in the southeast and you either flank or you flex back. However, on this map, you can often have people go in either direction against the meta. The question then becomes, what do you do? What do you do? So when I loaded in, I initially looked at the setup, and you can see that we've got a TD, an RD, and a light matched up at the top tiers, and then the cats and dogs below. But you'll notice that they've got the 50T, the IS-3, 4502, a little bit heavier, especially when you get down to the IS and the IS-2 down below. Of course, we've got a KB3 or two KB3s as well. But this is really kind of a crapshoot. I would say they appear to be a little bit heavier. And initially, I'm going to go to the meta position for a medium, which is into the southeast. But as this starts to develop, you'll notice the same thing I noticed. A whole crowd is headed off to that area in the southeast. And I realized at that point that I am going to have to go against the meta here, because somebody's got to get up here to the northwest. Now, there's a couple ways to look at this. Some players will say you absolutely just go with the lemming train if your team's going to be so dumb as to let an entire flank go. But you'll see that I'm getting a KV-3, a Comet. There's a T-49 already scouting, which is good because we're getting some SA on what is coming in. A couple 1375s raging around. And I feel like with my speed as a medium, I can actually get up to this corner. It'd be really nice not to be spotted, which I'm not, and get a few shots on people. Now we've got some SA here. We have a 50T, a 1375 or 2 trolling around, and a 4502. There's still some key tanks not seen. The FCM 50T is fast enough to get here, but he's already lagging the fight a little bit. So either he had a bad spawn position or he was looking at one of the scouts or our scout. And immediately I'll come in here and I get shot by the 1375, full on the run, hit and pinned. And he'll turn around, try to get a shot, and full on the run as he goes over a mound, hit and pinned, hit by the 50T, and already I've lost quite a few hit points. So I went against what my plan was. I said I was only going to come up here and kind of take a quick look, but I actually got myself a little exposed and hit a couple times. So it's time to get much more careful, and I am simply trying to help or hold here so we don't get rolled over. Once again, full on the move, 1375 hits and pens. And now the 50T takes some damage. So obviously we are well outnumbered here. I have another KV-3 coming up behind me, so I'll have both of them here, and the Comet is sort of keeping them honest over there. We have quite a crowd down in the southeast. So at this point now, it is just a matter of trying to slow them down over here and make them pay as much as possible. One option is to run away, but that just isn't going to happen right now based on how they're kind of swarming around us. And we'll just keep on holding on here. Unfortunately, this KV-3 has the small gun, but he actually does a decent job of understanding that he sort of needs to get in there and start helping out. So working on the 50T, looking for an opportunity to get at him. The IS-3 is trolling around behind us. He's a little bit busy with the Comet, so he's not really interested in coming right at us. KV-3 gets hit, but the FCM fired, so I'll come in and get a shot on him. I am not going to be able to get 2 shots before he reloads, so I don't go ahead and keep on pushing and he'll fire. Shooting at the guy below, so I know I've got some time. I'll get up in here, hit him and back up. He fires again, so I'll take that opportunity, and this is just trade 101 right here. Hitting them while they're not reloaded. He fires at the KV-3, and here he goes. I back up enough that the IS-2 can't actually hit me, and now I see a JT. In addition to that, we have, oops, there's an IS-3 behind us, so I'll turn around. I know his reload's relatively long, and I do have some backup behind us, so I'll put a shot into his wheel, this corner right there, and I'll cruise right in here Try to get away from him. The KV3 tries to get away. Finally get a little RNG help with a bounce, which was nice. And I'll put another shot into him and we'll come around. I'll leave him on 1% because why not? Although that was a pretty good roll. And we have the IS-3 dead. So we've taken out the 50T, we've got the IS-3. There is a JT right there now, and both my KV-3 buddies are going to be dead, and there is an IS-2. You'll see that in the southeast that the kind of meta mediums and faster tanks have one down there, and we have a pretty good lead. So at this point then, we have held this northwest corner pretty well. We've made them pay to get in there. Take a shot and bounce obviously off of that. And now we are just waiting for the reinforcements. I've got the 1375 trolling around behind me. Ideally what would have happened down here is once they won this, they would have all swung back and countered this push because this flank is obviously failing at this point. The Comet's run away, the Su-101 is hanging out in the back. This entire crowd should have come back this way. We'll see what they do. And I get aggressive on the 1375, feeling like I can get rid of him. I'll get that shot, and then I don't realize that the 4502 has come around this way, and we'll do a little dueling here. Unfortunately, I will come out on the bottom end of this. I get ammo racked, obviously. Fix it. Hit him, and ammo racked again, the immediate next shot, and I will not get away because the IS-2 comes behind me and nukes me. But we have held then that corner long enough. A decent amount of our tanks have come back this way, and this will actually end up being a win. They're going to clean up all these guys here. They're going to actually come back around behind. The T-71 and the Bat Chat do some good work. It takes a little bit of tag team between those two to really secure this win, especially against the JT later on, which I won't make you watch all that go down. The Comet will die right here as well. But this is a good example then of going against the meta. The meta says I should have gone down here. I could have done that. I ended up with about 2,600 damage out of this thing. I could have gone down here and probably got a lot less than 2,600, and then I'd have been coming back this way, and I'd have been facing probably a lot more hit points in heavies face to face right here, as opposed to being able to kind of dictate how I wanted the fight go, at least initially, early on in the battle right there. So take your tank on occasion. You need to have a good reason to do it. I'm not saying that you always go against the meta or that you always go where you think the weakest flank is. That's not necessarily always true, but in this case it's a good example of when you might want to try to do that to help secure the win for your team. I hope this helps. As always, if you like what you see, subscribe, and we will see you.